Hello, everybody. My name is Trisket, and let's get into the video. But before we do, please make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. All right, so today we got a bunch of topics, mainly because I left you guys with a random video about a Black Ops 1 remaster, and that was like, I don't know how many months ago, so I thought I'd chime in again and keep you guys updated with my thoughts and inputs on what's been going on since then, entertainment wise, right? So, we're going to start off with these subjects in chronological order. We got Superman 2025, Fantastic Four, Call of Duty, the Activision CEO, and what he's been saying about his response to Battlefield 6 and how they've been marketing that or Battlefield 6 at least has been marketing that they're doing what other companies won't do, right? And then I'm going to go over my first 10-hour impressions of Battlefield 6 since the beta has released. I've been playing since the early release of the beta, the early beta, open beta, whatever you want to call it, right? The early access version of the beta that happened from the 7th to today, right? So I woke up pretty late. I was gaming very hard, very long into the wee morning of like 2 a.m. And it was just because Battlefield 6 is very fun and it is very nice to get into a game that isn't riddled with eomm and Nicki Minaj and vegetables and aliens and animals, right? So it's nice to get a realistic shooter, or well, not realistic, but you know what I mean, an immersive shooter, right? So that's what people want. They want immersive, not necessarily realistic, right? Because whenever you get very realistic, you start to lose a bigger audience, right? And that would include me, because I'm not playing Battlefield 4 for a milsim. I'm playing it because I like large scale battles that make me feel like I'm in a Michael Bay film, right? So that's what I love about Battlefield, all the explosions, right? So we're gonna continue on with this, right? So that's basically it, right? I got some bonus stuff that I might cover, like the BO1 remake and how it's been canceled and it keeps getting canceled, and then the current state of gaming as well, because it kind of ties into everything. So let's just start off with Superman, right? Like, I saw the movie. I remember the lead up to it. A bunch of people were like, mainly the Snyder Bros, were like, "Oh man, this movie's gonna fail. It's dog shit. Keep your wallets closed, right? I don't want a hopeful Superman. I want an aura maxing Superman that can move at the speed of light but doesn't save anyone because he's just too busy aura farming, right?" So I remember all the hate for that movie drops. I was hopeful for it. I was like, damn, this movie is actually kind of looking good. And then I saw it. I was like, oh, damn, it's fucking good. So if you haven't seen it, I don't know if it's still playing in theaters, but if it is, definitely check it out. It's like my top 10 recommend, right? And then Fantastic Four had released alongside Superman, essentially, like literally the following week. Fantastic Four came out, and I went to go see that, and I thought it was alright. Definitely not better than Superman, but it is not a bad Marvel film. In recent years, because Marvel has been kind of falling off, I haven't really talked about my thoughts on like superhero movies, but just know that I do watch them. I'm a big comic nerd, so seeing Superman actually take inspiration from the comics and accept the fact that it's a comic book movie, right? Like, I forgot who said it best, but people are too afraid to be superheroes, right? Like, they want to look cool when in reality the costumes that superheroes wear are fucking cool to begin with. We don't need leather and over exaggerated lines that break up the character design or whatever, bro. Like, I'm fine with Superman being basically in tights and fucking in trunks, right? Which I will say they did kind of add extra lines to Superman, but you know what I mean. If the more simplistic you make the costume, the better I think it looks. All right, or comic accurate, whatever you want to say, right? So, and then so Fantastic Four, definitely not a bad movie. If you had like one choice to go to the movies, right, and pick out of Jurassic Park, Fantastic Four, Superman, I'd say go with Superman. But I do not want to discourage you to see the other two. Just know that I heard Jurassic Park, or from what I've seen and people telling me, is that it was pretty bad. My dad, however, did say it was enjoyable for the kids. Fantastic Four, again, it's not a bad movie, it's just not better. And I also thought it was mid, but then again, my dad also thought it was pretty decent. He hasn't seen Superman, but he did say he thinks it's woke, so he doesn't want to go watch it. And then we got Call of Duty, right? So moving on, right? So moving on to COD, the last time that we talked about COD, right? I think, you know, they still had the egregious skins and crazy microtransactions. Jesus, I don't know why I like coughed saying that. I'm probably allergic to Call of Duty at this point. It is getting really bad, guys. I'm sure you guys all know because, you know, I'm primarily a Call of Duty YouTube channel, or at least I show the gameplay in the background because, you know, I did a little bit of commentary back in the day, still kind of do, right? So basically, they, you know the whole shtick. They added Beavis and Butthead and American Dad and Roger, and then they added probably some other cartoon fucking thing that I don't even know about, but just know that it's not getting any better for them, right? And Call of Duty is not really changing up their plan of action, right? Like they're not trying to course correct. They're kind of doubling down, and we know this because of the leaks. If you haven't heard, but there are leaks that they're doing carry forward once again. So, you know, with Modern Warfare 2 to Modern Warfare 3, you know, you got to see fucking Homelander and shit. I will say Homelander's a lot more grounded and whatnot in comparison to some of the other shit that was in the game. But just know that expect to see the shark skins, Beavis and Butthead and whatnot tearing up your lobbies, and Black Ops 7 as soon as that game launches because of the leak through the ESRB rating, right? So just expect that to happen. Expect to see fucking weed bongs and shit flying around on your map as well, right? So very sad day. No matter what happens, Black Ops 7 is guaranteed to fail. I'm telling you that right now. So leading into what the CEO says, tying around back to that bullet point that I listed off earlier, that Call of Duty, the Activision CEO, big boss man himself, I don't know if it's still Bobby Kotick, but this motherfucker, he said, Call of Duty is too big to fail, bro. I'm sure I've uploaded this video pretty late, so I'm sure you guys have already seen what the Activision CEO said. Just know that he's wrong. Like, he's dead wrong, bro. There's no motherfucking way that Black Ops 7 is not going to fail. Sure, it'll sell 1 million copies, but you are not retaining that player base a month after launch, dude. I guarantee you content's going to be fucking bone dry. I guarantee you the campaign's going to be mid. Zombies is going to be lackluster, except for Transit. Transit will probably fucking be popular for like a month, and then it'll die off. That'll keep like its 30,000 players going on, and then it'll fucking die off, right? And Call of Duty will be once again all the way back down to 30,000 players like it is right now. So we're going to get into that news as well, because this, again, all ties together. So we got Black Ops 6 player count, right? This, I don't know what it is. This is today, but yesterday it hit a very bad low of just about 30,000 players with an all-time peak of 60,000, which is pretty embarrassing in comparison to Battlefield's fucking, it was like 380,000 players, concurrent players, and it had reached a all-time peak of about the same amount, right? So keep in mind that this was yesterday. This is before the beta was open, right, to the public. This was still whenever you had to watch like 30 minutes. There's still a little bit of a hurdle to jump, right, in order to in order to play the game, right? You had to watch for 30 minutes in order to play it. And that kind of deterred some people. I guarantee you it deterred some people, but at the end of the day, I guarantee you 380,000 players is not the end-all be-all. I'm guarantee you it's going to ramp up, especially since it's the weekend now, right? So you're going to have people that have jobs coming home and playing the game. So don't expect 380,000 concurrent players to be the low. I expect the peak today and tomorrow to probably be around 400,000, maybe 500,000 players. I don't expect it to be too much, but I do think it will definitely increase that number, and I'm sure Call of Duty's player base will continue to dwindle because, you know, looking at the history of its player count, it's only gone down. Even with the release of Verdansk, it immediately just it lost all the players almost a month after, right? So it is not looking all that great. And then on top of that, we got my impressions of the Battlefield 6 beta. So very smooth drop. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, there was some internet issues here and there, but that was mainly because I had my PC underclocked, and my first match, I didn't have my PC running in gaming mode, so I had it quiet so that way I could hear my instructor for a class that I was like taking virtually, right? So I had it quiet, and I hopped in the match, and I'm like, man, I can't hear shit because I still have my PC in quiet mode, and I fucking was just like sliding everywhere, bro. I was like floating, and then I figured it out, right, threw it in optimized mode, and boom, bro, it was Smooth like butter. I don't know how much FPS I was getting. I didn't turn on telemetry data, but I guarantee you it's probably around 170, maybe 200. I do lower my resolution settings because I think 4K is the scam and Ultra HD is the scam, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I think playing on 1920 by 1080 and 1920 by 1200 is just fine. Like, you're not really losing out on that much fidelity. Yeah, it's a little bit more pixelated, but you know, a person will never be 1 pixel, right? So you'll always see someone, and that's just my opinion on 4K. I think it's dumb, but you know, you do you. You like more cinematic experience. You go right ahead if you can afford it. Go right ahead. Not for me though, right? So I also get that performance boost out of it. So that's just how I play the game, right? So it kind of leading that into more settings with Battlefield, right? So this is gonna kind of go into some of my criticism, and that's just mainly control mapping because I play on controller. I've never been a big mouse and keyboard person unless it's like Counter-Strike or whatever. I've always played Battlefield games on controller, right? Like I played Battlefield 4 and 3 back in the day, but not for long. But it was on the 360 and Xbox One, right? That's what I'm trying to get at, is I was a big console gamer up until 2019, right? So I was even playing fucking Battlefield 5 on controller back when that launched, and I was playing Fortnite and all that on controller up until 2019. So never really been big into MNK until I started playing Counter-Strike and Ready or Not and all that. So that's why I play Battlefield 6 on controller. Don't talk shit. I don't give a fuck. I guarantee you your favorite COD tuber plays on controller like Jeff, right? So anyway, control mapping is still just a little bit buggy. So I play on tactical for Call of Duty, right? And for whatever reason, whenever I press B, it'll melee, right? But it'll still try and crouch. So I'm not going to give the devs too much shit for that, probably because it's just baked into the engine, right? So they probably haven't actually like separated the controls all the way, so that way you can actually map them. They probably still have it have the buttons like ingrained the way they are, probably just because for testing purposes, right? Now that the open beta dropped completely for weekend one, I'm not entirely sure if a new build dropped, but I definitely will be checking it out, and I probably will drop another video or at least more gameplay on this channel, right? So definitely keep an eye out for that. It probably won't be like an actual commentary video. It'll probably just be like 30 minutes of Black Ops, or not Black Ops 6, sorry. Oh my fucking god. Battlefield 6 gameplay. Jesus Christ, dude. I need Black Ops 7 to come out so I don't confuse the two. But yeah, Battlefield 6 gameplay, I'll probably upload like 30 minutes of that, just like how I did with Black Ops 6 when it first launched. See, that's what I was trying to say. Sorry. But yeah, I'll probably upload 30 minutes of that just like I did with Black Ops 6 and its beta. Then whenever it launched, I think I uploaded maybe like 30 minutes of sbmm footage or whatever the fuck I called it. But yeah, I'll probably do the same with Battlefield 6 just to show you the night and day difference. Because again, Black Ops 6 was the worst experience. Like, that beta is single-handedly the worst experience I've ever had with a COD beta. I remember with Black Ops Cold War, it was like so fucking fun. Even with the Vanguard beta, I remember people praising that a little bit just because it was, hands down, it was just a fun game. Obviously with some drawbacks, because if I remember correctly, in Vanguard they tried to do damageable environments, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Destructible environments, right? And that didn't really work out too well because you could still see people through walls, like, walls that you could break but weren't broken yet. So there's still some visual bugs, but still though, it was a decently fun beta. And then the Modern Warfare 2022 beta, I don't remember hating that one too much. I thought the movement was good. The only complaint that I remember having for that was just think sbmm and some of the mini-map stuff, because it's an Infinity Ward title, so we're gonna fuck with it. But yeah, again, talking about Infinity Ward, we got the OG Infinity Ward director, whatever the fuck, I don't remember what he did. I just remember seeing people talking about this, but you got the OG Infinity Ward dev leading this Battlefield game, right? Which makes a lot of sense, honestly, as why it plays the way it does. And on top of that, if you're like, well, what do you mean OG? Well, he's worked on the GOATs, alright? And by GOATs, I mean Modern Warfare 1 and 2, not the new dog shite 19 and 2022. I'm talking about 2007 and 2009, dude. This dude is an OG. He was there before the split up, I think. So, well, obviously he would be there before the split up. I don't know if he stayed with them afterwards, but I think what he ended up doing is he was part of the split that moved to EA to work on Titanfall. I think that's what he ended up doing, which again just explains a lot more. But Titanfall 3 got canned, so I think he's working on Battlefield 6 now, which is honestly a huge dub, right? I don't think we can go wrong here, just as long as EA doesn't axe him and Battlefield 6 for not being profitable or whatever the fuck, which I really do doubt. I think it is the most pre-ordered game on Steam right now, so which is pretty impressive because I think, well, no, actually, yeah, never mind. Pre-ordered and wishlisted are two different things. I think GTA 6 is like the most wishlisted game or some shit. If it has a Steam page, I'll have to go and check. But you know what I'm talking about. He's cooking, bro. Battlefield 6 is cooking. We're in good hands right now so far, right? So getting back into my first impressions, yeah, it's really just the key bindings for controller. At least I don't know how it is with M&K, but on controller on PC, the mappings are a little bit bugged, and then more control issues. This isn't for me. I'm more of an infantry person. Like I love playing assault. That's like my main class, right? Just because of the fucking grenade launcher. I love that shit. And the only control issue, but out of my bubble, right, is the helicopters and just aircraft in general, helicopters and jets. I heard from other YouTubers after watching them and their first impressions, they said the same thing that I'm about to say, right? It's just that apparently the aircraft controls are a little dog shite, and apparently that's happening on the subreddit too. There's a lot of discussion about that, so just keep an eye out for that. If you are playing right now, just lower your expectations for dogfights and what have it. But besides that, I mean, it was really, really fun. Because for me, again, I'm not a aircraft person, so it doesn't really affect me, but I thought the beta was really fun. The animations are amazing, dude. Like, there's just so much to love about this beta. There's no sbmm, quick matchmaking, something that Call of Duty doesn't have. I'm not lagging everywhere. There's not a lot of packet loss. You might see it in the gameplay, but what's actually happening on screen and what I'm playing are two different things, right? So it's really weird to say that. I don't know why the telemetry shit is happening in the top left corner of my screen, but I'm telling you right now, I'm not really suffering all that much. Like it is genuinely very smooth. I don't know how to check my ping, but I was not lagging anywhere at all. Like I felt very good, unlike Call of Duty, where if I'm playing too well, I get packet bursted into oblivion. I'm being so fucking dead ass right now. Like that shit is rough. So yeah, that again, very good Battlefield 6 first impressions. I have very little to complain about. If they drop the game tomorrow, bro, it would honestly be very nice. It is a very complete game, right? Meanwhile, Call of Duty's betas, it feels very incomplete. There's a lot of issues, a lot of bugs, right? This was not a very buggy beta. Now, to not compare it too much to Call of Duty, we can compare it to previous Battlefield betas. I haven't played any previous Battlefield betas, so this is kind of just coming from other people that have witnessed the 2042 beta. Apparently, the 2042 beta was a buggy mess, and I actually do remember clips of people complaining about it because you could drive vehicles up skyscrapers and shit. So I do remember that, and I do own 2042, but that was after it was on sale for like $2. So I was like, fuck it, I'll pick it up, right? And I've played it recently, and I do see why everybody's complaining about it, like having crazy dumb skins or whatever operators. That makes sense, right? It really does feel weird playing as the people you are in that game because they don't feel like they belong in the military. At least in my opinion, they don't. Mainly the assault class. I'm gonna really talk shit about her because it really does not make sense. She's wearing a wetsuit, right? And you could be like, oh, well, it's supposed to be like a BDU suit. Okay, well, why did she have tattoos on her face and fucking nose piercings? So, like, it doesn't also make... It doesn't even make sense that she's wearing a wetsuit, bro. There's, like, no maps with water on them. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm gonna get away from that. Keep it to fucking Battlefield 6, right? So, if we get a very good beta, very smooth experience, very little internet issues that I've had. Maybe I'll eat my words now that the beta is open, but even when there was a queue, it was still very easy to get through the queue, right? Like I only had to wait like 3 seconds and boom, I was in the game again. So again, very nice, very good servers. Apparently they're on 60 hertz. So that's way better than the 30 hertz servers on Battlefield 4, which, by the way, I was playing a lot of Battlefield 4 up until the release of this beta. And let me tell you, dude, Battlefield 4 is very fun when there are no cheaters. So it really does suck because apparently the Battlefield games have, or at least the older ones, probably pre-2042 to be my guess, just have a lot of cheating issues, which sucks a lot because I loved Battlefield 1 and 5. even though Battlefield 5 was goofy as shit, I still liked it. I still played Firestorm with my friends and all that shit, right? But it was still a decent game, in my opinion, right? Not horrible, but a decent game, right? And I went back to revisit it like last year, back in 2024, and dude, there were so many cheaters. Almost every single lobby I was getting sniped through walls. It was not fun. And Battlefield 4, like I just said, I was playing it recently to get into Battlefield 6, like prepare myself, right? And a lot of other people were. So there were a lot of lobbies that weren't cheating, but there were definitely quite a few where I would hop in and I'd get shot through a wall, and then I'm like, okay, that's my time to just pop off, right? And I wouldn't play Battlefield 4 for the rest of the day, right? Which sucks, because I actually really do like that game and I love the progression, and I really hope that Battlefield 6 has the same progression, not with battle packs, right, but just unlocking skins, right, and camos for your character. I really do hope that they have something like that. I don't know if the battle pass is going to be their way of doing that, right, for certain camos or whatever the fuck, or if it's going to be locked behind challenges, but it was very fun. So yeah, now you've made it to the end of the video. I congratulate you. Claps all around, fingers snaps, whatever the fuck you want to do. So I'm gonna just go over these two extra subjects that aren't really tied to the rest of the video, right? So we got the BO1 remake that is sadly being canceled once again, dude. It keeps getting canceled and shut down by whoever the fuck. I don't even know who anymore, bro. It just keeps getting shut down. So I thought I'd show you guys some canceled footage that is on the screen right now as I'm talking, and then I'll probably stop it right now. So that's all the BO1 remake footage that you get psyched. No, I'll keep playing it in the background while I talk about this other subject. So I just wanted to say that it is so nice to get a good fucking game, dude, as a beta, like right from the get-go, bro. It is so fucking nice, dude. At first, we thought it was Xify as a COD refugee, you know. We were like, oh, damn, Xify is so fucking fun, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, some people were complaining about it. Like, oh, it doesn't have streaks, yada, 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 right? And then Ubisoft was like, god damn it, we're broke. We keep pushing out shit that no one wants to play. Fuck. All right, Xify, you aren't profiting, so we're just gonna fucking cut the plug on you. And you want to know what's crazy? They weren't profiting because motherfuckers were just fucking not putting out a lot of content. You want to know why there wasn't a lot of content, Ubisoft? It's because y'all weren't fucking paying them enough, bro. Y'all were not funding them at all. You're like, we're going to try and keep it as fucking bare bones as possible. That's why the game came out the way it was, with all the server issues, and why they chose the engine they did instead of creating their own, because you guys weren't fucking funding them. Anyway, I have a lot of issues with Ubisoft, if you couldn't tell, because they just don't know how to fucking print money the proper way, right? They want to scam the player out of their fucking dollars, right? So, especially with fucking, what you call it, them saying that people should have subscriptions for games, so they're like one of the biggest people to be like, you should own game, right? You should have a license to a game that we can take away or whatever the fuck. Same thing with Nintendo, but you know what I'm talking about. So it's very nice to see Battlefield kind of pick up where Xify fucking died, right? And go, okay, well, they listened to their players and they got a huge player base. So we're going to listen to our players and our player base and see where that gets us. Oh my god, people like it. What the fuck? It's almost like if listening to the people that are buying your product is a good idea, consumer feedback is actually viable and, you know, is useful. And then Call of Duty's over in the corner like, yeah, fuck the players. We know what we can do. We can actually do whatever the fuck we want because we won't die. We'll always be at the top, blah, blah, blah. And then GTA 6 drops and Call of Duty is like only holding like 1,000 players a fucking month, right? So I guarantee you that's exactly what's gonna happen to Call of Duty if they don't pick up their shit, which I really doubt they'll do, but they have course corrected in the past, quote unquote, with 2019, but even then that wasn't really a course correct. It was just like a fucking, I don't know how else to put it. If you're a 2019 enjoyer, know that I don't fucking like it, so you're probably not gonna like my take on Modern Warfare 2019. Just know that it was not good for multiplayer, in my opinion. It was not a good year for multiplayer. It included SBMM and bundles and all that. It was like the setting stone for what would come forth, right? So I'm not a big fan of that. So, but yeah, current state of gaming, there's a bunch of cheaters in Black Ops 6, and there's like no cheating from what I've seen in Battlefield 6, and it's very hard to cheat in Battlefield 6 because there's like 128 players in one fucking match, right? And guess what happens when there's 128 players in one match? It's kind of hard to try and cheat on someone and then not get sniped from across the map. So if you're cheating on Battlefield 6, amen. Just say you got no life and you never felt the touch of a woman and you don't like going outside. It's alright, bro. It's alright. If you yourself, no one would care. I probably shouldn't have said that, but you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, that's all for today's videos, folks. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. Thank you for listening to my almost 30-minute rant that probably just sounded like fucking crazy cocaine babble, right, from like a homeless man on your block. But hey, bro, I appreciate you for being here. Thank you, and goodbye.